Hey guys, I'm here today to show you how to add some cute little shiny eyes to your hand knitted stuffed animals and dolls to give them a little extra personality in life. Make sure you watch all the way to the end to catch a few bonus tips and techniques. I'm Becca. I've been knitting for over 20 years and now I'm here to help you take your knitting to the next level. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe and click that bell. Here are a few different kinds of safety eyes. Full disclosure, I bought these at a flea market a really long time ago and they were already really old when I bought them. You can see here that I paid $3, probably for all of them, not just this one bag. Love me a good bargain. But there's all different styles. There's even more than what I have here. For this fox that I'm showing you how to do today, I chose these big brown eyes because I liked how they looked. And I also have these green cat eyes, which are fun. Small brown ones, and I have these small-ish blue ones. I've used them all for different projects. I also have these teeny little things. I'm gonna say these are probably not going to be for knitted objects because they'll pop through the fabric most likely. One word of caution, even though these are called safety eyes, they can still be a choking hazard for any ferocious chewers in your house, and that includes human and fur babies. I am demonstrating on this little fox pattern that I designed. It has two separate pieces for the head, so you're going to want to sew them together before you start, but don't stuff it yet. So you'll leave an opening, which you'll also use for inserting the eyes. You can play around with sticking the eyes into the head to see where you want them to be, and if you have different styles, to also decide which ones you like the best for this particular toy you're making. And I would suggest, if you've never done safety eyes before, to practice on your gauge swatch. You made a gauge swatch before you started, right? Right? To put safety eyes into your knitting, sorry, this is hard to see because it's black, but basically what you do is you figure out where you want it to be, and then you find a little space in between the stitches and wiggle it into there. And it's a lot easier to see if you can flip it to the back and then just push it through. I'm going to show you that again. See if I cannot get it in focus. So you'll push it through where you want it to be. Flip it inside out a little bit and then wiggle it through. And then you take the back. There's a flat side and a pokey outy side. You want to put the flat side toward the fabric. So you place it on here, and some are harder to push down than others. If it's really tight, you can lay it down on the table and press. Just be sure that you're not putting it on a scratchy surface, because then you would scratch this poor guy's cornea. Ow. And then you just push it all the way down. This one is kind of tight. Till it snaps. If it can go a little further, do a little further, and then look. Just like that, you have an eye. So once you're comfortable with attaching safety eyes, you can move on to your stuffed animal. I went ahead and did these in a separate video, which I'll show. Try to get it centered. I think that's actually going to be too close together. So I'm going to put this one here and then move the other one. Yeah. Again, you look at the back. Just guide it through. That's kind of cute. They're not quite even though, so I'm going to pull this one out. I'm going to just heel that one up there. And then put it in again, a little bit more like right here. Then you get the backs and put them on there, flat side toward the eye. Just squeeze it on there. Same for this one, and make sure they're in the right place before you do this, because once these are on, you can't take them off unless you just break them, which is really hard to do actually. I've tried. There. For a little extra pop to the eyes, you can take a piece of felt in a color of your choice, probably black if you want it to look like eyelashes, and then you will cut out a piece a little larger than the eyeball. Ew, this has dog hair all over it. Sorry guys, that's gross. So once you have your circle, you can kind of shave off any sharp corners and then snip just a little bit of just a tiny little snip in the middle there for your safety eye to go through. You can see it's just a really small little slit. Stick your eye in there, and then you can trim around it depending on how much you want to show. If you're making a raccoon or something like that, bigger ones would be cute, but if you're just looking for a little bit of kind of an eyeliner effect, you can trim it down then. And felt is so cheap, it's okay if you make a few mistakes. You have a lot of room to experiment, which is basically what I'm doing right now. Whoop. I think that is gonna look cute. I'm gonna trim off these sharp corners just a teeny bit. Yeah, and I like how that looks. It probably won't show up very well on that black felt, so I'll show you on the back of this guy's head. Sorry, Lucky. Just so you can see what it will look like against the orange. So see how that pops out just a little bit more than this for a different sort of a style, and it's up to you whatever style you decide would look the cutest on your toy. Bonus method number 2 is you can take some embroidery floss or a thin-ish yarn in a color of your choice and stitch some little details in before you attach the eye. I'll show you what I mean. Bring your yarn up or thread through the inside to the outside, and don't worry about tying a knot just yet. You can kind of pinch it with your finger and hold it in place. I've got my one finger up inside here. And then you can something like this. If you want the eye to have a little bit more of a like Egyptian look. See, wouldn't that be cute? It has a little bit more of a corner on the edge. And if you wanted to, you could add, I would say not to do too many stitches right in the hole where you're going to stick the eye, because then it'll be harder to get it in there. Gotta check and make sure I'm not all tangled up in here. Could do some little eyelashes out of the corner by doing something like that. If you wanted them to be longer after you do that, you can take it out. I think I would like them to be longer. Making toys is supposed to be fun. There's not an exact science to it, but I would encourage you to play around, have a little fun with it. Try some different things until it has the personality that you think it belongs with. That's why they're so fun. Each one is unique. And even if you follow the same pattern and it's made by the same person, each one will have its own really special personality. Okay, let's try by sticking this in here. And see, isn't that cute? I would probably make that one a little bit longer on the side there. So I'm going to just quickly extend that stitch by coming into here, not in the very center, but not on the very edge either. And then stitch it out one stitch further. Okay, I think I'm gonna like that. Flip it again, that hole's getting larger now, so it's easier. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, I love it. Pretend like its face isn't over there. So if you wanted to do that, you would obviously make another one as close as you can to this on the other side, and it will bat those cute little eyelashes at you. And to finish, after you've done this technique, turn it inside out, and if you want to, you can tie these in a knot together. Since these ended up on opposite sides, I would say probably that's not the best idea. But since it's a stuffed animal, it's totally okay to make knots as opposed to sweaters. You just don't want it to be visible from the outside, especially if it's a contrasting color. So I'm going to come under this piece of thread here, and then on this one, and then I will stitch through this loop to make a knot. And you want to make sure you're not pulling it so tight that these are disappearing. And then I'll do the same with this one. And the reason I wait until the end for this is because if you don't like where you put it and you decide you want to move it around a little bit, you'll have the freedom to do that. All right, I'm going to use that strand for my knot this time. Check again and make sure I haven't pulled anything so tight that it disappears, that the knots are secure. And then you can trim them if you want. This one's pretty long, so I'm going to trim it. But once you stuff it and sew it together, you'll never see it again. Then if I were going to actually keep this here, I would attach the back and it would be done. Which look was your favorite? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. If you would like to knit this fox along with me, the pattern can be found on my website, beccajnorman.com, or on Ravelry. Just search for Felix and Felicie Fox. Well, that's all for today, but stay tuned for more tips on finishing stuffed animals, including my next video on stuffing them. Subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss it.